Um, okay, so my mom has been doing all this yoga, and we were sitting with her the other night. We passed by there before we went to Maine, and she said, so like, what's the point of Shavasana? And I'm so scientific in the way I like to understand things. I said, well, it's the down regulation of the nervous system. And she was like, I'm not sure if that's actually, she wanted that whole response. So I've been thinking for the last couple of days since we had that conversation about like, how important the regulation of the nervous system is. Okay. Okay, Melinda. So more and more and more, I hope that this practice today will be like a reconnection of your breath, because, I hear a lot of people saying, like, especially my mom was saying this. I just had this conversation with her, which is why it's on the top of my mind, that she knits, and knitting is really meditative for her, and that helps her down regulate her nervous system. And while I believe her and I think that's wonderful, nothing is more portable than your breath. So our ability to connect and reconnect and breathe through all the things that are stressful, as a way to not just like avoid bad stuff, but also like savor good stuff, like buying a house and moving, is it's valuable, and it's available when we come to practice. So let's start on our backs, please, and bring a block with you. There was a time in my life when I used to practice yoga, not just at night, but in the morning too. And sometimes on the weekend I do that. And I think of Melinda all the time, who says like, it's really hard to do back bends at night, especially if you're someone who has a troubling relationship with sleep. But then it occurs to me, I go a really long period of time without doing a lot of back bends. So let's start in a supported bridge pose. So you can bring a block with you and just support the sacrum. So not the low back, the sacrum, and really just for two reasons. Number one, to get that back bend in very early, and then kind of move into all of our standing poses and the things that will help prepare us for sleep. And also just as this really supported way to transition into just focusing on your breath. And if you'd like to kind of seal the lips as you connect to the cycle of your inhale and your exhale, it's kind of a practice that gets you more into the awareness of your breath. It's like you have to be a little bit more deliberate about it. And if you've been sitting in a car for a long time, like I've been, this is an option for you, or in a chair, like I'm sure everyone is all the time right now. I will give you an option to do this one leg at a time. If it feels wonderful and you think your low back and your thighs can support this, you can absolutely do it symmetrically, both legs at the same time. So if it feels okay, explore what it's like to extend your right leg straight out in front of you. So the sacrum stays on the block, but the right leg straightens. And then that gives you that deeper hip stretch. Your heel or your foot connects to the floor. And you might feel yourself a little off center on your block. If that feels okay to you, it's okay. If it feels uncomfortable to you in any way, just adjust as needed. And scan your body for any places where there's a lot of gripping. So just like the brain can't always really tease apart the things that are stressful because they're wonderful and exciting, and the things that are stressful because they're um, devastating. Like if you listen to the news, right? It's so stressful. Um, but at the same time, when I used to present um, the restorative yoga module for teacher trainings, um, the list, when you do a really simple internet search about like what causes stress, um, what's interesting is that getting married and buying a house and getting a new job are in the same like top 10 list as death and divorce. And it's when you think about it that way, it's that was very interesting for me to learn. It's like um biochemical state that is stress. It's not just bad things happening. If one leg is bent, you can, or straight, you can bend that leg and switch sides. Just feel the difference. Anytime we kind of do things asymmetrically, it's always worth it to check out the effect that your practice has had on you. This is and then the other thing I think that falls into this category of stress is the physical sensation of discomfort. So just like our bodies aren't sophisticated to decipher the fine line between good stress, bad stress. I think discomfort is another area of fine line, which is what makes yoga so effective, because you're on one level intentionally creating this stressful environment in the body, and you're sitting with this equal and opposite intention to breathe through it with equanimity, which is what I think makes yoga different from so many other different kinds of exercise. So all you have to do right now is breathe. Whatever's happening, feel it, see it, acknowledge it, breathe through it, breathe into it, breathe with it, alongside of it. Last couple breaths here. As you're ready, as you feel complete on this second side, or um, symmetrically, you can bend both of your knees so both of your feet are on the floor. Take a moment here. If you're ready to slide off the block, push into your feet and move the block to either side of your hips. And then just to neutralize the spine quickly, we'll take a quick twist. We'll do some deeper twists throughout practice, but you can let your knees just windshield wiper from left to right. If it feels better for you to take a longer hold, that's also an option. Just bring yourself into some kind of symmetry, right? Back bend, twist, twist, neutralizing the spine. And then we'll meet in a tabletop position. Please take your time getting there. There's no rush. You will need your blocks, both of your blocks at the top of your mat. We'll play with them a little bit. So if you like to do some cat and cow with your hands on the blocks, if that feels good, if it's a nice option, you can set them up now. Otherwise, I'll let you know when you'll need them. And just move through some organic cats and cows. Whatever feels good to you. Find neutral with your spine, and then send your right toes to the back of the mat, just like you would for a plank pose. And then if you don't have socks on anymore, your feet will probably stick to your sticky mat, so you have to just be light on your toes. Slide your right leg all the way back so your seat comes towards your left heel, your left sits bone comes towards your right heel, and then really straighten and strengthen your right leg for a thigh stretch in there. Ooh. And then come back up through center. You can switch sides if that didn't make sense to you. I'll do it this way so you can see what's happening from this view. So left toe, oops, go all the way back. Your right seat comes towards your right sits bone. So it's very asymmetrical. We don't normally do this pose. And then the straighter and stronger you make your left leg, the more you'll feel that thigh stretch. Does that make sense? Okay. And then come back up to center, hands on the blocks if they're not there already, and then you can adjust whatever height makes most sense for you. Take a strong push into your hands to lift up and out of your shoulders. Let your belly drop, let your heart lift, let your tailbone tilt up, big cow spine. Breathe here for a whole in breath and out breath. Breathe in, sink your belly. As you exhale, push into the hands, round into the spine. Stay here for an in breath, out breath. As you inhale, come to a neutral spine. Step one foot back and your other foot back. Come into a plank pose. So hands on blocks. The rest of you is in plank. Push into your hands. Wrap the eyes of the elbows forward. Ground through the knuckle of your first finger and your thumb if it's on the block. And then draw your belly in and up. And start to tiptoe your feet without letting your arms soften. Tiptoe your feet up towards your hands. If you have to shift the blocks up a level, that's why I mentioned that. So belly draws in to step your feet forward. Bring your hands to your shins, find a flat back. So heart moves forward, tailbone moves back, belly draws in and up. Hands back to the blocks, straight, strong arms. Scoop your belly in and up, tiptoe your feet back to plank without letting the upper body move as much as possible. So you're really isolating this action. Draw your belly in and up, tiptoe your feet round two towards the top of the mat with disturbing the upper body as little as possible. Hands to shins, find a flat back here. Crown of the head moves forward, back of the head reaches up. Hands to blocks, tiptoe your feet back to plank. Belly in. This time, step just your right foot forward. Belly in and up off your right thigh. Left foot steps forward to meet your right. Inhale, hands to shins, or you can keep them on the blocks. Hands to blocks, step your right foot back. Belly in and up off your left thigh. Left foot meets right foot. Good, we'll do one more. Left foot steps forward. Right foot steps forward. I'm getting warm. Inhale, half lift. Good, exhale. Left foot steps back. Right foot steps back. Pause, hold your plank, breathe. Good, lower your knees. Shift back to child's pose. Flip your blocks down on their lowest level. Hands to blocks. Keep your arms straight and strong. Elbows wrapping up here. Let your forehead come down. I always end up shifting my weight from one side to the next side. It gives me like this really nice shoulder stretch. If that feels like something kind in your body, you're more than welcome to check that out too. And then shift your way up to table. Move the blocks out of the way. Take your time setting, oh, actually, no, keep the blocks there. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oops. Draw your belly in and up. Coil your right knee toward your nose. And then step your right foot between the blocks. Yes. Draw your belly in and up off your thigh. Hook your thumbs, right thumb in front of left thumb. Sweep the arms up towards the sky. Let your hips sink down. Push into your back foot. Feel the thigh open up. Feel the big toe ball mound of your right foot on the ground. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Big breath in. As you exhale, lean over to the right. Left side body stretch. Soft shoulders. Inhale your way back through center. Keep hugging the arm bones away from each other so your arms are active. Maybe from the breastbone lift up. As your hips sink down, it turns into a little bit of a back bend. Breathe in. Draw your belly in and up as you sweep your hands down towards the blocks. Frame your right foot. Adjust as needed. Take an inhale as you exhale. Half split with the left knee down. And you can move your blocks up to any height. Try to point your right toes straight up towards the sky. And then plug the hip bone in towards the socket. Hug the outer hips in. And as you do that, send your heart forward. Ooh. 2 more breaths, right? Discomfort in the right leg. Smoothness and steadiness in the breath in and out through your nose. The next time you inhale, bend back into your right knee. Keep your left hand down on the block. Send your right fingertips towards the sky. Now, your hands on the block. So try to avoid getting, using that to make the twist left intense. So for me, it's always helpful to understand where I am in space. With your right hand, you can reach underneath you and use your hand to really wrap your left ribs towards the midline. Oh, that feels different. And then right fingertips to the sky. Keep your right big toe ball mound down and hug the hips in towards the midline. Breathe in and out. Soft shoulders, soft jaw. Last breath in. As you exhale, fullest expression of twist. Inhale, unwind right hand to the block. Exhale, step your left foot forward to meet your right, forward fold. Feel the difference side to side. Bend your knees from here. Climb your elbows up onto your knees. Sit down into your seat. Push into your elbows to lift out of your shoulders. Reach your heart forward. Draw your belly in and up. Good. Breathe. 2 more breaths. This is portable means of reconnecting to what's happening here. Inhale, strong legs, rise all the way to stand, arms to the sky. Look up, maybe lean back as you exhale. Soft knees, hinge at the hips, hands to blocks. Step right foot back, step left foot back. Knees to the mat. Breathe in. Exhale, left knee to nose. Step forward. Belly off your left thigh. Hook your thumbs, left thumb in front of right thumb. Sweep your arms to the sky. And then think about dragging the arm bones away from each other. So you're moving the thumbs, they're really active. The belly is strong. It's supporting the whole low back. Your hips are drawing down. Your right foot is pushing into the mat. These alignment cues, they protect the physical body. They also anchor our awareness. Breathe in. The next time you breathe out, lean over to the left. Big right side body stretch. Oh. Come back to center as you're ready. Hollow, or stay here for 1 more breath. Maybe from the breastbone, lift up and back. And then use the strengthening of the belly to really protect the spine as you release your hands to the blocks. Shift your right knee back as needed so you can straighten your left leg. Give yourself that half split sensation. Toes point straight up. So the tendency here is for the weight to fall onto the outer part of the left heel. So you have to do a lot of work to kind of wrap the toes up. And then at the same time, plug the hip bone into the socket, like your right hip is wrapping forward, and then send your heart forward to intensify that sensation. And your breath stays calm and smooth the whole time. If it's getting away from you, let go of some of the physical sensation. That's the less important part. Good. On an inhale, you'll bend back into the left knee. Collect yourself and then open up your left fingertips for a twist. You can start the same way. Use your left hand to really wrap the right ribs towards midline. That changes everything for me. Send your right shoulder onto your back. So the tendency again is for the shoulder to dip in. You're on purpose rolling it away from you. Breathe here. Use your inhale to lengthen. Your exhale to churn from the low belly. Ooh. Last breath in. Exhale is the fullest expression of your twist. Oh, inhale, hand down. Exhale, step right foot forward to meet left foot. Inhale, hands to shins this time. Exhale, fold. Move the blocks away from you. Push into your feet, rise to stand, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of your heart center, bow your chin to your chest. We've gotten into side body twists, backs of the legs, fronts of the legs. So everything's awakened. You have a really good sense of your physical condition this evening. What can your mental and emotional intention be to really honor that, this ever-changing nature of you? Once that's sealed in for you, inhale, send your fingertips to the sky, look up. Soften the knees as you exhale. Hinge all the way forward, touch down. Bring your hands to your shins for a flat back. You can always leave your fingertips on the mat too. Plant your palms. Step back to plank pose. Lower your knees if you'd like. Inhale, shift your shoulders forward in line with your fingertips. As you exhale, listen, lower halfway like chaturanga. Inhale, push up. Oh, exhale, sink your hips towards the mat. Peel your heart up towards the sky like a knees down up dog. Shoulders moving away from the ears. The elbows are bent a little bit so your arms are straight and strong. As you exhale, shift your way back to downward facing dog. You can keep your knees bent for this round. You can straighten your legs for this round. You know what you're working with. You can pedal out. Oh, it feels so good. Good. Look forward to the top of your mat. Step your right foot forward, hollow out your belly. We did this on the blocks. Step your left foot forward, arms stay straight and strong. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand, arms to the sky. We're gonna do 2 more Surya A. Exhale, soften the knees, dive right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands to the mat, step your left foot back, step your right foot back. Knees can come to the ground or not. I'm lowering mine. Shift forward, shoulders in line with fingertips. We're gonna do these mini push-ups. Inhale, back to this knees down plank, and then sink your hips forward, chest lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can soften the knees. Right, you have many options. As you look back at your feet, set the heels up so that you just see a tiny sliver of heel inside the ankle bone. Send your sits bones to the sky, draw your belly in and up. Look forward. Left foot steps forward. Right foot follows. Strong arms. Inhale. Find your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, arms to the sky. Last one, exhale, dive right back down. Halfway lift from here. Step back. This time we'll go straight through. So knees can stay lifted, chaturanga or to the belly. Inhale, baby cobra or up dog, whatever your body feels ready for. Exhale, down dog. Look forward, walk or step or hop your feet to the top of the mat. Find a long spine when you get there. Exhale, fold. Chair pose awaits, knees bend, arms rise. So belly in and up, like the ribs are drawing down. And you can feel how that lengthens your back. Yeah, I see some of you with that like proprioception, like feeling where you are in space. So helpful. Last breath in here. Exhale, fold forward, straighten the legs, feels so good. Inhale, halfway lift. Meet me in downward facing dog. You can move through another round of push up. You absolutely don't have to do that. Take your time, whatever you're doing. From your downward facing dog, keep your right foot where it is. Step your left foot ever so slightly forward and then spin the heel down. So you're giving yourself a calf stretch. You can start to bend your right knee if you like. Oh, you can start to stack your left hip on top of your right hip. That's fine. Just that side body stretch, that calf stretch. Yeah, let it feel good. We're going to set up for warrior one. So your left foot's actually right where it needs to be. You can leave it there if you think that's possible to look forward, step your right foot forward. My heel always comes up, but then I have a really good reminder of what it's supposed to be doing. Inhale, float your arms to the sky. Ravira Bhadrasana, the first. Think about tucking your hips underneath you, sending your right hip forward. Whew. Push into your back heel. So you're still giving yourself that calf stretch. Stay here, breathe. Bend a little deeper into your right knee. It's okay. Whatever's coming up is okay. Just take a big breath in through your nose and a controlled exhale. Last one, inhale, heart lifts. As you exhale, hands down inside your right foot, and then frame the left corner of your mat with your hands. For me, it always ends up being fingertips here. Think down dog. Push the earth down and away. Send your hips back. And then for like added hip stretch here, think about scooping your right hip towards the midline, like it's tucking underneath you. Oh yes, quite. Last breath in and out. Don't rush. Walk your hands back to center. Your blocks should be near. Grab them. Spin up onto the ball of the left foot. And then standing split, left leg to the sky. So you have your blocks. Oh, feels good. Your left foot, your toes can point or the foot can flex. Keep the leg active. Feel what it's like when it's dead weight versus when you're kicking through your left foot and your right foot. And then for one moment here, send your heart forward. Make more space in your right side body and your right hip crease. And then step your left foot down to meet your right foot. Soften both knees, just let yourself hang. If it feels good here to interlace your fingers, you can do so, right thumb on top of left thumb. If it feels better for you to kind of take opposite elbows, right forearm closer to the spine, to the back. Let your head nod and shake. Anything you're holding onto, let the arms kind of waterfall towards the mat. Roll your way up to stand. Reach your arms to the sky, look up. As you exhale, sit right back down into a chair pose. Breathe in. Exhale, hands touch the mat. Find a halfway lift. And then make your way to plank, chaturanga, up dog. You can skip it all together and meet me in gorgeous, divine downward facing dog. This time we give ourselves a right calf stretch. So spin your right heel down, let your left knee bend. And for me, it just feels great to just kind of hang out here. Ah. And then re-engage the arms, look forward. You can absolutely leave your right foot just as it is. My heel always comes up. And then rise to Virabhadrasana, the first. Whew. Take a second. Do a scan. Your feet are your foundation. So whatever else is happening above that, your feet are rooted into the mat. And your legs are active. So just like any other pose we've done, a low lunge, for instance, the hips were settling down. And then from there, you have this invitation to really expand up from the hips. We've done these twists. So think about your right ribs spinning towards the midline. Breathe. Let's call it 2 more breaths here. Last one. Good. Exhale. Hands inside your left foot. Frame out the upper right hand corner of your mat. I'm up on fingertips. That's what ends up working out best for me here. Push down and away with the arms. So the upper body's in like down dog. And then there's different ways to conceptualize this. Right now, it feels to me like tucking your left sits bone underneath you. A big hip opener. Push down through your right heel. Feel that calf stretch. Last breath. One more in and out. Walk your hands forward to find your blocks. Standing split right leg to the sky. And when I say to the sky, it might be quite parallel to the mat. That's skyward as far as I'm concerned. And then either way, point or flex the foot. Just keep that right leg really active. Lengthen your left side body even more. And then send your heart forward. Yes. Last breath in. Good. Right foot meets left foot. Soften the knees. Just hang over your legs. Shoulder stretch option. If you like to interlace the fingers, left thumb will be on top. If you want to just take opposite elbows, your right forearm is the one on top here. Wherever you are, shoulders are really rolling away from the ears. That's the sensation we're all looking for, even though our shapes look different. Release what you're holding on to. Let your fingertips graze the earth. Roll your way up to stand. Arms to the sky. Look up. Connect your palms. Connect your thumbs to your sternum. Bow your chin to your chest. The most important parts of our practice right here. These check-in points along the way. How does it feel to be you right now? Wonderful. Release your hands to your sides. Stand on your right foot. Bring your left knee toward your belly. And set up for a tree pose. Left foot inside the right leg anywhere. So it could be the thigh. It could also be the inside of the shin. And then while your hand is helping, do this manually. The toes start to wrap back and the heel wraps forward, and that puts the hip in a deeper sense of kind of like external rotation. but the hips and the ribs and the shoulders stay square towards the front. So notice if you've disengaged from the belly, can you lift up and out? Your hands can rest at your heart. Your hands can extend overhead. You find your drishti, right? Your eyes are on that focal point that doesn't move. If your hands are extended up overhead, bring them to your heart. Spin your left knee to center, and then squeeze your left heel towards your left sits bone. And you'll start to kind of extend the leg back behind you, but keep squeezing. So the knee makes this big Sharpie mark on the floor. So your foot's behind you now. Left hand finds left ankle, perhaps. I would love for that to happen. Right leg stays really strong, even if the knee has to bend a little. And then kick the foot into the hand for a thigh stretch. Shoulders back, belly strong, jaw soft. Oh. Squeeze the heel towards the sits bones again to bring your left hand to meet your right hand. Soften your right knee this time. Take a big step all the way towards the back of the mat. Right knee bends. Left heel circles down. Warrior two, arms extend away from heart center. Peek down at your right knee. Do make sure that you can see your big toe ball mat of your right foot inside the right knee. And then wiggle around a little bit with the hips. For me, it's like forward and back seesaw instead of like, or forward and back on the mat, like to the right, to the left, instead of like towards Christopher and towards the door. And then use your left leg so much you feel that thigh stretch once again. Breathe. Good. Cartwheel your hands down to frame out your right foot. Right leg up and back to the sky for down dog split. Bend your knee, open your hip. Yum, yum. That's the sound I always make here. And then this time bend the left knee a little bit so that you're not doing anything weird with the ankle. Squeeze the heel towards your sits bone here. Lift your right knee a little higher. Good, look forward. Exhale, coil your knee to your nose. Step your right foot towards the top of the mat. Left heel down, warrior two. You're just here. Keep your right knee bent. Flip your right palm sail up and back. Radiant warrior. Keep bending into your right knee as you sail up and back behind you. Exhale, right forearm to right thigh. Left arm circles overhead, extended side angle pose. Curl your tailbone towards your left heel. Ribs in, jaw soft. Beautiful. Right hand to right, left hand to left hip. Right hand can find a block. Push your right leg straight. Triangle pose. Think about keeping your right side body long here. If and when you're ready, your left arm can release skyward. And then here is another place where the tendency is for the right shoulder to kind of collapse in. Roll the shoulder onto the back, expand your chest. Beautiful. Left hand to hip again, bend into your right knee. We're moving towards half moon. Walk your right hand forward as your left foot skips in. And then eventually stand on your right foot, float the left leg up. So think standing split here. I don't care if the toes are pointed or the foot is flexed, keep it active. Lots of options coming your way. Left arm can float up towards the sky. Maybe you squeeze your heel towards your sits bone just like you did a moment ago when you were standing. And your left hand can find your ankle or your foot. And then same thing, kick the foot into the hand for that thigh stretch. Beautiful work, Chris. So nice. Beautiful, everybody. Good. If you have your foot, squeeze the foot in towards the sits bone again as you release the left arm up, then start to straighten the leg. Soften the right knee. We're coming gracefully back to warrior two. Good one. Hands to hips. Please straighten your right leg. Turn your right toes to face forward, and then hinge at the hips and fold. And from here, you can keep the legs straight if you want, or you're more than welcome to make this a lot more dynamic than that and kind of bend into one knee at a time. Beautiful. Walk your hands forward, frame out your right foot, step your left foot forward to meet your right foot. Nothing fancy. Very graceful halfway lift. Feel the back body lengthen asymmetrically because we've only done one side. Exhale, soft knees as you fold forward. Let your head go, neck go, jaw go. Roll your way up to stand. Arms to the sky, please. Hands to heart. Don't forget to honor yourself. This is the work you're doing. Hands to your sides. Left foot is your standing foot. Right foot finds the inside of the left leg for tree pose, Vrikshasana. So lots of things are happening here. This is a balancing pose, but at the same time, the left leg and the right leg are pushing into each other to create this really stable foundation. Your hands can come, woo. Stability is an illusion. Hands to heart. Maybe arms overhead. In yoga, they say that really everything is an illusion. These are the some of the ills that we fall into. We believe things are permanent. We believe because they're happening in a moment that they're forever, when really our job as human beings is to just really observe the world be as it is around us, meet it with equanimity. Bring your hands down to heart center. And then send the right knee forward. Squeeze the heel towards the sits bone. So the hamstring starts to fire here. Ooh, quite a bit. And then send the knee back. You're just driving it down and behind you. Oh, right hand finds right foot, maybe. And then kick the foot into the hand. Give yourself a thigh stretch. Good. So this is going to inform your transition possibly in a lot of ways. It definitely is informing your transition, because if this is not accessible to you, you'll know not to try to deepen as we're in a different orientation to gravity. Squeeze the heel towards the sits bone again, hands to heart center. Bend into your left knee a little bit, send the right leg way back behind you, and then spin the heel down, open up for warrior two. Peek down, observe your big toe ball mound. Just settle in. We'll take about 5 breaths here, a little bit longer than we normally stay. And all you have to do is breathe. And stay as present to current happenings. Last breath in. Cartwheel your hands down. Frame your left foot, left leg to the sky. Down dog split. Bend your knee, open your hip. Let your right knee bend so that it's not wonking out to any which direction. Squeeze the heel towards the sits bone here, and then open the left knee higher to the sky. Notice if your right arm disengaged, can you keep your arms working evenly? And square off the hips. Left foot steps back to the top of the mat, warrior two. We were just here. This time we're going to reverse it. The left knee moves forward as the upper body leans up and back. Extended side angle pose, left forearm to left thigh, right arm reaches overhead. the transitions to triangle pose, your right hand can find your hip. If you want to reach for a block, push your left leg straight. Big relief here. And lengthen your left side body. And send the right arm towards the sky. Broaden across the chest. Excellent. Bend into, or right hand to hip, bend into the left knee, half moon pose here. Your toes can point or your foot can flex. Just keep the right leg active and engaged. Ooh. If you're going for the thigh stretch, squeeze the heel towards the sits bone, then reach for the foot or the ankle. If you're staying just as you are, think about right hand to the sky as your next step, if that makes sense for you today. Good. If you have your foot, squeeze heel towards sits bone, right arm back to the sky, extend the right leg, slow transition back to warrior two. Yes. Arms stay straight this time. Push your left leg straight, turn your left toes in. Keep your fingertips reaching wide as you dive your heart down. Maybe use your hands to find the outside of the feet, the outside of the ankles. Oh, kitty, you scared me. Bend your elbows and use your hands to kind of pull yourself into a deeper fold. Release what you're holding on to. Walk your hands to the top of the mat. Frame out your left foot. Step your right foot forward to meet your left. Inhale, last halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, rise to stand last time, arms to the sky, look up. Exhale, dive right back down, folding into yourself. Slowly step your way back. If you want to move through what is a meaningful vinyasa to you, you can lower or find a back bend. We're going to do some hip openers and really cool down now. Pigeon pose awaits. Right shin, top of the mat. You can walk your left knee back behind you and feel free to tent up on fingertips here and take a big chest opener, big back bend. Sometimes it feels great to me, sometimes it doesn't, which is why I always make it optional. You take a couple undulations before you get ready to settle into some stillness. We won't be here for too long, but the wisdom that you have for yourself is much more valuable than anything I could possibly offer to you. Just take 3 breaths wherever you are. If you've taken this on your back, we're going to transition from here, but you'll have an easy transition. I'll tell you what to do. Last breath in and out here. Let go of something that's just not serving you. If you're in pigeon, bring your fingertips back to the mat. If you're on your back, just let go of your figure 4 shape. Shift onto your right sits bone. If you're in pigeon, swing your left leg around. If you're on your back, just pivot up to sit. So my hips feel great today. So as we take a seated hip opener, it will be the left hip that gets it this time, and then we'll reverse on the second side. So you can fold forward from a cross-legged position. You can also take more like a Agni Stambhasana, a fire log pose, left shin stacks on top of the right shin, whatever works for you. Hi, baby. And when you get there, breathe. Right. With this um, logical mind informed the brain, right, and which is also a very interesting disconnect in yoga. There's like a reptilian mind, like um a reactive mind, and then there's a wisdom mind, and those things are different. So the brain can know something on one level and transcend that on another. So knowing that the body doesn't always, or the brain doesn't always know the difference between discomfort and danger, or stress, or good stress and bad stress. How can you use your breath to self-soothe? Can you remind yourself that what you're doing is for this greater purpose? Good. Last breath here. Inhale, exhale. As you inhale, you can start to roll yourself back up to sit. Release your hands behind you. Legs, put both of your feet down on the floor and reach your arms forward. Maybe even hands behind the backs of the legs here. Shift back a little bit. Lift your shins to parallel the ground for Navasana boat pose. Big broad chest here. Belly in, like it's off your thighs, like we did this in that chair pose prep. Reach your arms forward, maybe. One more breath, equanimity. And then start to straighten the legs, lower the low back. You're in like a low boat. Worst pose in yoga. I love you and I'm sorry. Stay here for one. You're done. Knees to your belly. Give yourself a squeeze. You can roll around on the low back. You can rock up and over the shins. Make your way back to table or down dog, whatever makes sense for you to set up. Oh, if you're doing it on your back, you don't have to do anything. That was clever. So left shin to the top of the mat, or stay right where you are on your back and do your figure four shape that way. We won't do boat pose or Navasana again, or low boat. And if you did your undulations, I did about 3 or 4. They just feel good today. You're in my way. Just another breath or two here. And make your way onto your hands from pigeon, both feet to the floor if you're on your back, and then we'll just swing the right leg around or come to sit. You can take that cross-legged position with your right shin in front and a deep fold forward, or you can stack the legs. Fire log pose, Agni Stambhasana. Agni is fire. Get settled. We have a few more breaths here. Stay with your practice, stay with your breath. Whew. Last one. Roll up to sit, release your hands behind you. This time, put both of your feet on the floor and let the knees rock side to side. Oh. We'll take one symmetrical forward fold before we make our way onto our back for final rest. Invitation to take a wide-legged stance. For some of us, this might not be a great option. You can also do feet together. So whatever works for you. Some people, when the legs widen like this, it causes the low back to round a lot. We're using this like a forward fold. So what would be energetically more cohesive for all the things we've just done is you had this ability to kind of hinge forward. Like that flexion is what makes a forward fold. Just take a couple deep breaths wherever you are. You don't even have to let your spine be very engaged. You can kind of let yourself round. We're moving to a more relaxed place. The intention behind keeping things very active when you're in a forward fold is to protect your muscles, especially at the insertion points. So my request, if you're kind of disengaging a little bit, is don't get to that point where you feel like you're at your absolute edge. Back away from that a little bit. The next place we're going is onto the back. So if you're feeling amazing in your forward fold, you have plenty of time to take a couple more breaths there. If you're ready to call it now, bundle up, safely make your way to your back. You can take a final twist. Knees drop over to the left, knees drop over to the right. As much time as you need in those places. And then your final rest awaits. Let yourself settle and resettle. Let's think about the way your cats and your dogs, the way they find rest, right? They burrow into their hole and they turn a circle, and you know when they're not settled, and you're like, oh, there's going to be another circle or another digging action. And there's finally this sigh of like, ah, yes, I can plan on being here for quite some time. So give yourself that luxury. This is the time you carved out for yourself to breathe and move. And then Shavasana is the most important time of your practice. It's the not just the physiological state of stillness, it's the downregulation of the nervous system. It's this biochemical cascade of events regulate the hormones and turn on all of the systems that are absolutely turned off when we are activated. This is our digestion. This is our immune response. This is our heart's rest on a physiological level. Steady breath. Start to come back to your breath. And don't rush any part of reawakening. Just let it happen really organically. Effects of making your way into rest and activating that parasympathetic or the down-regulated nervous system. Um, the cumulative, so the easier and more accessible that state of beingness is to find. So you might notice that you're better able to touch your toes and you're better able to kind of take a chaturanga, but you probably also notice that your ability to breathe through challenge is also strengthening. You're going to make your way up to a seated position. And you get there, bring your hands together in front of your own heart center and honor yourself by bowing your chin to your chest. And this gesture of really the magical subtlety of the entire practice that, you know, if we're using this metaphor like the tip of the iceberg, it's like what happens to you physically is the tip of the iceberg. It's the things that can absolutely not be seen. It can be felt. They're there. That's what we're really honoring within. And I bow to you for your commitment to being here on Monday nights or any time throughout the week. Thank you so much for just being you, being here.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Have a great
Thank
week,
you,
everyone.
Allison.